You are not weak, you are not lost, you are not defeated. The enemy wants you to believe that you are, but listen to me. Every time you doubt yourself, you are agreeing with the lies of the devil. The Bible tells us that death and life are in the power of the tongue, Proverbs 18:21. What you speak over yourself shapes your reality. Look at your life right now. Are you living in fear? Are you trapped in a cycle of failure? Then ask yourself, what words are you speaking over yourself every day? Do you wake up saying, I'm tired, I'm broken, I'll never succeed? Because if that's what you say, that's exactly what you will live. But today I am telling you to rise up, take back your power. When you wake up in the morning, declare with authority, I am strong, I am favored, I am victorious. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I am a child of God, and nothing can stand in my way. Say it with conviction. Say it 100 times if you have to, until your mind believes it, until your soul aligns with it, until the chains of doubt break off your life. Your words have the power to change your destiny. When David faced Goliath, he didn't stand there in silence. He spoke. He declared, the Lord will deliver you into my hands. And what happened? The giant fell, not because of a stone, but because of the power of faithful words. I don't care what the world has labeled you. Failure, disappointment, nobody. That is not who you are. You are chosen. You are mighty. You are an overcomer. But you must speak it until it becomes the foundation of your life. Speak it in the morning. Speak it when fear creeps in. Speak it when you feel like giving up. Speak it until your mind is renewed, your spirit is revived, and your future is transformed. Say this 100 times every day. I am unstoppable. I am unshakable. I am everything God has created me to be, because if you change your words, you will change your life. The words you speak shape your reality. Choose them wisely. This truth is more powerful than most people realize. Every single day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, your words are forming the foundation of your life. They are setting the tone for your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately, your destiny. What you say about yourself, about your situation, about your future, it all matters more than you think. Look around at the most successful, fulfilled, and happy people. They are not the ones constantly speaking doubt, fear, and negativity. They are the ones who have mastered the power of their words. They wake up with purpose, declaring strength over their lives. They refuse to let their circumstances dictate their speech. Even when life gets hard, they don't crumble under the weight of problems. Instead, they speak solutions. They speak hope. They speak victory. The Bible tells us that life and death are in the power of the tongue, Proverbs 18:21. That means your words are not just sounds that come from your mouth. They are weapons. They can build and they can destroy. They can create and they can kill. They can lift you up or they can bury you under the weight of self-doubt. Too many people are unknowingly destroying their own lives because they don't guard their speech. They wake up every day saying, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm not good enough, I'll never make it. And then they wonder why life feels so heavy, why they always feel stuck, why things never seem to change. It's because they are speaking defeat into their own future. If you want to change your life, you must change the way you speak. You must train yourself to use words that bring life, not death. Imagine planting a garden. If you keep speaking negativity over yourself, it's like planting weeds that choke out every good thing trying to grow. But when you speak words of faith, strength, and confidence, it's like planting seeds that will grow into a harvest of success, joy, and peace. Think about David before he faced Goliath. The entire army of Israel stood there in fear because all they could say was how big the giant was, how impossible the battle seemed. But David, he spoke differently. He declared, the Lord will deliver you into my hands. Well, Samuel 17:46, his words carried faith. His words shaped the outcome of the battle before the fight even began, and because of that, he walked into victory. Now apply this to your own life. What giants are you facing? Maybe it's financial struggles, maybe it's self-doubt, maybe it's fear of failure. Whatever it is, you have two choices. You can speak about how impossible it seems, or you can declare that victory is already yours. Start by paying attention to your daily language. If you catch yourself saying, I'll never be successful, stop immediately. Replace it with, I am capable, I am smart, I have everything I need to succeed. If you hear yourself saying, I'm so tired of this life, stop. Instead say, I am strong, I am blessed, I am growing every day. If you find yourself saying, I can't do this, say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. This is not just about positive thinking. This is about aligning your words with the truth that God has already spoken over you. When you speak with faith, you activate the supernatural power of God in your life. You begin to see doors open, opportunities arise, and situations shift in your favor. Science even backs this up. Studies have shown that the words you speak can rewire your brain. When you repeatedly say something, your mind starts believing it, and your actions begin to reflect it. That's why people who constantly say, "I'm always sick," tend to get sick often. Meanwhile, those who declare, "I am full of energy and health," tend to feel stronger and more resilient. Your words program your mind, and your mind directs your life. Think of it like a GPS. If you enter the wrong destination, you'll end up somewhere you never intended to be. But if you program the right address, you'll arrive exactly where you want to go. Your words are the directions you give to your life. If you keep saying, "I'll never get out of this situation," you are programming yourself to stay stuck. But if you start saying, "I am moving forward, I am growing, I am getting better every day," then that is exactly where your life will go. One of the biggest mistakes people make is letting their emotions control their words. When they feel down, they speak words of discouragement. When they feel angry, they speak words of destruction. But mature, wise, and successful people understand that words should not follow emotions. Emotions should follow words. Even when they don't feel strong, they say, "I am strong." Even when they don't see success yet, they say, "Success is coming to me." They declare it, and eventually their emotions and reality align with their words. This is why you must say empowering words every day. Not just once, but over and over again until they become a part of who you are. If you need to, write them down. Put them on your mirror, your phone screen, your walls. Say them in the morning, say them at night, say them when fear tries to creep in. Speak them with authority, knowing that every word is shaping your future. Imagine your life 5 years from now. Do you see yourself thriving, achieving your goals, walking in confidence and strength? If that's what you want, start speaking it now, because 5 years from now, you will either be exactly where you are today, stuck in the same patterns, or you will be living a transformed life. And the difference will be the words you chose to speak. No one else can do this for you. You have to take responsibility for your speech. You have to decide that from this moment on, you will no longer use your words to destroy your own potential. You will no longer curse your future with self-doubt and negativity. You will use your words to build, to grow, to empower yourself. Right now, say it with me. I am strong, I am blessed, I am victorious. Nothing can stop me. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I have favor, I have wisdom, I have everything I need to succeed. In God's name, together we are strong. I have wisdom. I have everything I need to succeed. Say it again. Say it louder. Say it until it becomes the foundation of who you are. Because when you change your words, you change your life. The Bible teaches that life and death are in the power of the tongue. This is not just a poetic statement or a philosophical idea. It is a law of life. The words you speak carry weight, whether you realize it or not. They can bring healing or destruction, victory or defeat, growth or stagnation. Many people underestimate the power of their words, speaking carelessly and then wondering why their lives are filled with struggle, disappointment, and pain. But the truth is, whatever you consistently speak is what you will experience. Think about this for a moment. Every word you say is like a seed planted in the soil of your future. If you speak negativity, doubt, and fear, you are planting weeds that will choke the life out of your dream. If you constantly say, "I can't do this, I'll never be successful, nothing good ever happens to me," then those words are shaping your reality. You are programming your mind, your spirit, and even your circumstances to align with those negative declarations. And then when things go wrong, you might say, "See, I knew this would happen." But the truth is, you created that outcome with your words. On the other hand, when you speak words of faith, strength, and victory, you are planting seeds of success. Saying, "I am capable, I am blessed, I am favored, and good things are coming my way," begins to shift your mindset, your energy, and even the way you respond to challenges. Your words set the course of your life, just like the rudder of a ship. No matter how strong the wind is, no matter how big the waves are, the rudder determines where the ship goes. In the same way, no matter what storms you face, your words will decide whether you sink or sail forward. This is why the enemy wants you to speak negatively about yourself. He knows that if he can control your words, he can control your life. If he can get you to constantly declare, "I'm not good enough, I always fail, I'll never be happy," then he doesn't even have to work hard to keep you stuck. You are doing it to yourself. But the moment you wake up and realize the power of your words, you take that power back. You start speaking life instead of death, and things begin to shift. Look at the story of creation. When God created the heavens and the earth, he didn't build it with his hands. He spoke it into existence. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. He said, "Let there be life," and life appeared. If the creator of the universe used words to bring things into existence, how much more should you be careful about what you speak? You are made in his image, which means your words also have creative power. Think about the most successful people in the world. Do they walk around saying, I'm a failure, I can't do this, life is too hard? No. They speak with confidence. They declare their success before they see it. They understand that their words shape their reality. Even when they face obstacles, they don't speak defeat. They say, I will find a way. I will overcome this. I am getting stronger through this challenge. And because they speak it, they live it. Your mind is always listening to what you say. It takes your words as instructions and starts shaping your beliefs, your actions, and even your body's response based on what you declare. That's why people who constantly say, I'm so tired, feel exhausted all the time. Their body follows their words. But those who say, I am full of energy, even when they are tired, often find themselves pushing through and feeling better. Your words are not just sounds. They are signals to your brain, your emotions, and even the spiritual realm. This is why you must be intentional about what you say. Stop saying things like, I'm broke, I'm unlucky, I'm never get ahead. Instead, start saying, money is coming to me, I am favored, opportunities are opening up for me. Even if you don't see it yet, speak it. Even if your bank account is empty, declare, I am prosperous. Because the moment you change your words, you change your mindset. And when your mindset changes, your actions follow. And when your actions align with your words of faith, doors begin to open. Think about the story of the woman with the issue of blood in the Bible. She had been suffering for years and no doctor could help her. But she kept saying to herself, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed. She didn't say, maybe I'll be healed or I hope something changes. She spoke with certainty, I will be healed. And because of her words and faith, when she touched Jesus, she was instantly healed. Now imagine if she had said, I've been sick for so long, nothing will ever change. I'll never get better. It's too late for me. Would she have found healing? Probably not. Because her words would have stopped her from even trying. Her words would have kept her trapped in hopelessness. The same applies to you. What are you speaking over your life every day? Are you speaking healing or sickness, success or failure, strength or weakness? Because whatever you speak will manifest in your life. Some people say, but I'm just being realistic. No, you're not being realistic. You're being limited by your own words. Reality is shaped by what you believe and what you speak. If you only speak what you see, you will never rise above your current situation. But if you start speaking what you want to see, things will start shifting in your favor. The enemy wants you to focus on your current problems and speak words of defeat. But God wants you to focus on his promises and speak words of faith. He has already said that you are more than a conqueror. He has already declared that you have a future and a hope. But you have to align your words with his promises, not your problems. Start today. Pay attention to every word you speak. If you catch yourself saying something negative, stop immediately and replace it with something positive. If you say, I can't, change it to I can. If you say, I'm not good enough, change it to I am enough. If you say, I'll never succeed, change it to success is coming my way. Say it over and over again, not just once, but every single day, 100 times if you have to. Because the more you speak it, the more you believe it. And the more you believe it, the more your actions will align with it. And when your actions align with your words of faith, you will start to see transformation in every area of your life. The Bible doesn't say maybe life and death are in the power of the tongue. It says they are. That means you have a choice. Will you speak life or will you speak death? Will you declare victory or will you declare defeat? The choice is yours and the outcome will be determined by what comes out of your mouth. So from this moment forward, make a decision. Speak life, speak strength, speak faith, speak success, because your words are not just sounds, they are seeds. And the harvest you reap will be the direct result of what you choose to plant. The mind is a battlefield, and every thought you entertain is either working for you or against you. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality, shaping your actions, your emotions, and ultimately your destiny. The Bible tells us, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. This is not just an inspirational quote, it is a fundamental law of life. Whatever you consistently dwell on, whatever thoughts you allow to take root in your mind will manifest in your life. If you think weak, you will live weak. If you think strong, you will live strong. If you think in lack, you will experience lack. But if you think in abundance, you will walk in abundance. Most people don't realize how powerful their thoughts are. They think they are just reacting to life, unaware that their own thinking is setting the course. If you wake up in the morning and the first thought in your mind is, today is going to be a difficult day, you have already sent instructions to your mind, your emotions, and even your circumstances to align with that expectation. You will find yourself feeling tired, irritated, and frustrated for no reason, because your thoughts told your body and spirit how to feel. But if you wake up and say, today is going to be an amazing day, you have sent a different instruction. Your mind begins to look for reasons to make it a great day. Your energy rises, your mood improves, and you start to notice opportunities instead of obstacles. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant weeds, weeds will grow. If you plant flowers, flowers will grow. The problem is many people have been planting weeds in their minds for years, and then they wonder why their lives feel overgrown with problems, stress, and negativity. The truth is, if you do not intentionally plant positive, empowering thoughts, negative ones will take over by default. The human mind is naturally inclined toward worry, fear, and doubt unless you train it otherwise. That's why the Bible tells us to renew our minds daily. It is not a one-time thing. You have to work on it every single day. One of the greatest tricks of the enemy is to attack your mind with thoughts of doubt, fear, and defeat. He knows that if he can control your thinking, he can control your life. If he can get you to believe that you are not good enough, that you will never succeed, that you will always struggle, then he doesn't need to do anything else. You will sabotage yourself. You will shrink back from opportunities, hesitate when you should act, and settle for less than what God intended for you. The enemy doesn't have to destroy you if he can get you to destroy yourself through negative thinking. But here's the good news. You have the power to take control of your thoughts. You don't have to be a prisoner to negative thinking. You can reprogram your mind just like a computer. If a computer is filled with viruses, it doesn't matter how powerful the hardware is, it won't function properly. But when you remove the viruses and install the right software, the computer runs at its full potential. Your mind is the same way. If it is filled with fear, doubt, and negativity, you will never function at your highest level. But when you remove those negative thoughts and replace them with truth, faith, and positivity, you will unlock your full potential. This is why it is so important to guard what you allow into your mind. The news, social media, toxic conversations. These are all planting seeds in your thinking. If you constantly consume negativity, you will think negatively. If you surround yourself with people who complain, doubt, and fear, their mindset will become yours. That's why you must be intentional about what you allow in. Spend time reading things that uplift you. Listen to messages that inspire you. Surround yourself with people who encourage you. Fill your mind with faith, not fear, with possibility, not limitation, with victory, not defeat. Every great achievement in history started with a thought. Every business, every invention, every breakthrough, it all began in someone's mind. The Wright brothers first had to believe that humans could fly before they ever built an airplane. Thomas Edison had to believe in the possibility of the light bulb before he created it. If they had let fear and doubt control their thinking, they would have never succeeded. Your dreams are the same way. If you believe they are possible, you will find a way. If you believe they are impossible, you won't even try. The only difference between those who succeed and those who fail is their mindset. Some people say, but I can't control my thoughts. That is a lie. You absolutely can. You may not be able to stop a negative thought from entering your mind, but you can decide whether or not to entertain it. Just because a bird flies over your head doesn't mean you have to let it build a nest. When a negative thought comes, reject it. Replace it with a positive one. If your mind says, I can't do this, respond with, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If your mind says, this situation will never change, respond with, all things are possible for those who believe. The key is to catch the negative thought before it takes root. The Bible tells us to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. That means you have to actively challenge your thinking. You can't just let your mind run wild. You have to discipline it. If a negative thought enters, stop and ask yourself, is this true? Is this in line with God's promises for me? If the answer is no, then reject it. Replace it with something better. Do this consistently, and over time, you will rewire your brain to think positively by default. Many people are stuck in cycles of failure, not because they lack ability, but because they have programmed their minds for defeat. If you have spent years telling yourself that you are not smart enough, not talented enough, not lucky enough, then that belief has shaped your actions and your reality. But the moment you change your thinking, everything else will change. Your confidence will rise, your actions will align with your new beliefs, and new opportunities will start to appear. Scientists have discovered that the brain is constantly changing based on what you think about. This means that your current mindset is not permanent. You can change it. You can train your mind to think differently. And when you do, your life will begin to transform. Start today. Pay attention to your thoughts. Every time you catch yourself thinking negatively, stop and replace it with something positive. Don't just do this once. Do it over and over until it becomes a habit. The more you do it, the easier it will become. And soon, you will find that your mind automatically leans toward faith instead of fear, toward hope instead of despair, toward success instead of failure. Your mind is your most powerful weapon. It can be your greatest enemy or your greatest ally. The choice is yours. Will you allow negative thinking to keep you stuck, or will you take control of your thoughts and step into the life you were created for? The answer is in your hands. Whatever you allow yourself to think, you will become. So think wisely, think boldly, think victoriously, and watch how your life begins to change. Fear is one of the most powerful forces that can either paralyze a person or propel them toward greatness. The Bible tells us, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Yet despite this truth, so many people live in constant fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of the unknown. Fear can be so consuming that it controls every decision, keeping people stuck in cycles of mediocrity, preventing them from taking the steps necessary to fulfill their God-given purpose. Fear is a liar, a thief, and a manipulator. It distorts reality, making challenges seem bigger than they really are and making us feel smaller than we truly are. It convinces us that we are incapable, unworthy, and powerless, when in reality we have everything we need to overcome. One of the greatest deceptions of fear is that it makes us believe that what we are afraid of is more powerful than what we are capable of. Fear magnifies the worst possible outcome, making it seem inevitable. It fills our minds with what-ifs. What if I fail? What if I get rejected? What if I make a mistake? What if people laugh at me? This mental chatter keeps people stuck on the sidelines of life, watching instead of participating, hesitating instead of taking action, settling instead of striving for more. But here's the truth. Fear is only as powerful as you allow it to be. The more you entertain fearful thoughts, the stronger they become. But the moment you decide to confront them, their power begins to shrink. Think about a child who is afraid of the dark. When the lights go off, every shadow looks like a monster. Their heart races, their breathing becomes shallow, and panic takes over. But when the light is turned back on, they see that there was nothing to fear at all. The monsters were just illusions, tricks of the mind. Fear operates the same way in adults. Most of the things people are afraid of are nothing more than illusions, worst-case scenarios that may never happen, lies that the enemy whispers to keep people from stepping into their destiny. The only way to conquer these fears is to turn on the light, to expose them for what they really are and refuse to let them control you. Many people believe that courage means the absence of fear. That is not true. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite fear. Every successful person you admire has felt fear at some point. The difference is that they refuse to let it stop them. Fear is a natural response, but it should never be a master. If you allow fear to dictate your actions, you will never step out of your comfort zone. And if you never step out of your comfort zone, you will never grow, never achieve anything great, and never experience the fullness of what life has to offer. The Bible is filled with stories of people who had every reason to be afraid, but chose to step out in faith instead. David could have let fear stop him from facing Goliath. Moses could have let fear stop him from leading the Israelites. Esther could have let fear keep her from saving her people. But in every case, they chose faith over fear. They understood that fear is not an indicator of what is possible. It is merely an obstacle to be overcome. Fear is the enemy of faith. It is impossible to walk in faith and be controlled by fear at the same time. Faith says, God is with me and I will succeed. Fear says, I am alone and I will fail. Faith focuses on what is possible. Fear focuses on what could go wrong. Faith moves forward. Fear holds back. Every time you choose faith over fear, you weaken fear's hold on you. But every time you choose fear over faith, you strengthen its grip. This is why you must be intentional about resisting fear. One of the most common fears that holds people back is the fear of failure. People hesitate to take action because they are afraid they will not succeed. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. Every successful person has failed multiple times. The difference is that they did not let failure define them. They understood that failure is not the end, it is a lesson. Every failure teaches something valuable. Every mistake is an opportunity to grow. The only true failure is never trying at all. Many people also struggle with the fear of what others think. They are afraid of being judged, criticized, or ridiculed. But here's the reality. No matter what you do, people will always have opinions. If you do nothing, people will talk. If you do something, people will talk. If you fail, people will talk. If you succeed, people will talk. So why let their opinions stop you? The truth is, most people are too focused on their own lives to spend much time thinking about yours. And even if they do criticize you, their words do not define you. Only God's words define you. Another major fear that cripples people is the fear of the unknown. People want to see the whole picture before they take a step. They want guarantees before they act. But life does not work that way. If you wait until you have all the answers, you will never move. Faith requires stepping out even when you don't see the whole path. It requires trusting that God will guide you even when you don't know what's ahead. Every great journey begins with a single step. You don't need to see the entire staircase, you just need to take the first step. The fear of change also holds many people back. They are comfortable where they are even if they are unhappy. They fear stepping into something new because it is unfamiliar. But nothing great ever happens in comfort zones. Growth requires discomfort. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. Muscles are built through resistance. The process may not be easy, but it is necessary. The key to overcoming fear is action. The more you face your fears, the weaker they become. The more you avoid them, the stronger they grow. If you are afraid of public speaking, the only way to overcome it is to start speaking. If you are afraid of starting a business, the only way to conquer that fear is to take the first step. If you are afraid of failing, the only way to move past it is to try. Every time you act in spite of fear, you train your mind to be bold. Fear is also fueled by the words you speak. If you constantly say, I'm scared, I can't do this, or what if it doesn't work, you are reinforcing fear in your mind. Instead, speak words of faith. Declare, I am strong, I am bold. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Your words shape your reality. Speak fear and you will live in fear. Speak faith and you will walk in confidence. Another key to overcoming fear is surrounding yourself with the right people. Fear is contagious, but so is courage. If you spend time with people who are always afraid, always doubting, always hesitating, their fear will rub off on you. But if you surround yourself with bold, fearless people, their confidence will inspire you. Choose your influences wisely. You must also learn to shift your focus. Fear grows when you focus on the problem. Faith grows when you focus on the solution. Stop magnifying the obstacle and start magnifying the possibilities. Stop thinking about what could go wrong and start thinking about what could go right. God has given you a spirit of power, not fear. You were created to do great things, to live boldly, to walk in victory. But you cannot do that if you allow fear to control you. It is time to break free. Time to silence the voice of fear. Time to step into your destiny with courage and faith. Fear may still whisper, but it does not have the final say. You do. Choose faith, choose boldness, choose to move forward no matter what, and watch how your life transforms. Fear of failure is one of the most powerful chains that keep people bound to mediocrity. It is the silent killer of dreams, the invisible force that stops people from pursuing their goals, and the voice in the back of the mind that whispers, "What if I fail?" The Bible tells us that we are more than conquerors, that we are created for a purpose, and that failure does not define us. Yet, despite these promises, countless people hesitate to take the first step because they are afraid that they will not succeed. They allow fear to dictate their decisions, keeping them trapped in their comfort zones, afraid to venture into the unknown. But here is the truth. Failure is not the enemy. The real enemy is allowing the fear of failure to stop you from trying at all. The fear of failure is rooted in the belief that failure is a reflection of who we are. People believe that if they fail, it means they are not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. But failure is not an identity, it is simply an event. It is something that happens, not something that defines you. Every great success story is filled with failures. The difference between those who achieve great things and those who remain stuck is how they respond to failure. Most people do not realize that failure is one of life's greatest teachers. When a baby learns to walk, they fall hundreds of times before they take their first steps. But they do not see falling as failure. They do not sit on the floor and say, I guess walking isn't for me. No, they get back up and try again, and again, and again, until eventually they walk. Imagine if babies were afraid to fail. No one would ever learn to walk. The same principle applies to life. The only way to truly fail is to give up. Failure provides valuable lessons that success never could. When you fail, you learn what does not work, which brings you one step closer to what does. Every mistake is a lesson, every setback is an opportunity, and every obstacle is a stepping stone. The most successful people in history failed more times than they succeeded, but they refused to let failure stop them. Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb, failed over 1,000 times before he finally succeeded. When asked about his failures, he did not see them as defeats. Instead, he said, I have not failed. I've just found 1,0,0,0 ways that won't work. His persistence changed the world. Imagine if he had given up after the first few failures. Walt Disney, one of the most creative minds of all time, was once fired from a newspaper job because they said he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. He went on to create one of the most successful entertainment empires in history. Imagine if he had allowed that failure to define him. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was cut from his high school basketball team. He could have let that failure crush him, but instead, he used it as motivation to work harder. He later said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot 26 times and missed. I have failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." The truth is, failure is a necessary part of the journey to success, but most people fear it so much that they never even start. They let the fear of failure keep them in a cycle of hesitation and inaction. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions, none of which ever come. And in the end, they realize that their greatest regret is not the things they failed at, but the things they never tried. One of the biggest reasons people fear failure is because they worry about what others will think. They are afraid of being judged, ridiculed, or embarrassed. But here's the reality. Most people are too busy dealing with their own lives to be focused on your failures. And even if they do judge you, their opinions do not define your worth. The greatest tragedy is allowing the fear of other people's opinions to stop you from living the life you were meant to live. Fear of failure also creates a cycle of procrastination. People delay taking action because they are afraid of making mistakes. They convince themselves that they need more time, more knowledge, more experience before they start. But in reality, they're just using these as excuses to avoid facing their fear. The longer they wait, the stronger their fear grows. And eventually they look back and realize they have wasted years waiting for a moment that never came. But here's the good news. You can break free from the fear of failure. It starts with shifting your mindset. Instead of seeing failure as something to avoid, start seeing it as a stepping stone to success. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What if I succeed?" Instead of fearing mistakes, embrace them as part of the learning process. The next step is to take action despite your fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward in spite of it. Fear loses its power when you take action. The more you step out of your comfort zone, the more confident you become. Action is the antidote to fear. Another key to overcoming the fear of failure is surrounding yourself with the right people. If you spend time with people who are constantly afraid to take risks, their fear will influence you. But if you surround yourself with people who are bold, determined, and unafraid of failure, their mindset will inspire you. Choose to be around those who encourage you to take action, not those who keep you stuck in fear. It is also important to stop comparing yourself to others. Everyone's journey is different. Just because someone else succeeds faster does not mean you are failing. Success is not a race. It is a personal journey. The only person you need to compete with is the person you were yesterday. Focus on your own growth, not someone else's timeline. Another way to overcome fear is to reframe your failures. Instead of seeing them as defeats, see them as lessons. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? What will I do differently next time? This shift in perspective will change the way you handle setbacks. And finally, remind yourself of who you are. You were not created to live in fear. You were not created to settle for less than your potential. You were created with purpose, with gifts, with the ability to overcome. The Bible tells us that God has a plan for our lives, a plan to prosper us and not to harm us. But that plan requires faith. Faith to step out, faith to take risks, faith to keep going even when things do not go as planned. Failure is not the end. It is simply a chapter in the story of success. The greatest victories come from those who refuse to give up. So do not let the fear of failure hold you back. Step out, take risks, embrace the journey, and know that every failure brings you one step closer to your ultimate success. Self-doubt is one of the most crippling forces that holds people back from achieving their true potential. It is the silent enemy that whispers in the back of your mind, telling you that you are not good enough, that you are not smart enough, that you do not have what it takes. It is the constant questioning of your abilities, the hesitation before making a decision, the fear that others will discover you are not as capable as they think. The Bible tells us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that we are equipped with everything we need to succeed, and that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Yet despite these truths, many people still allow self-doubt to hold them back from stepping into their destiny. Self-doubt is not just a passing thought. It is a deeply ingrained belief system that shapes the way you see yourself and the world around you. It keeps you from taking risks, from pursuing your dreams, from stepping into opportunities. It convinces you that you are not worthy of success, that you are not capable of greatness. And the worst part is that it feels real. It feels like truth. But self-doubt is a liar. It is a deceiver. It is an illusion designed to keep you small. One of the biggest causes of self-doubt is past failures. When you have experienced failure in the past, it is easy to believe that you will fail again. Your mind replays every mistake, every wrong decision, every missed opportunity, convincing you that you are not cut out for success. But failure is not a sign that you are incapable. It is simply proof that you tried. And the more you try, the more you learn, the more you grow, the closer you get to success. Every successful person has failed multiple times. The difference is that they did not let failure define them. They did not let it feed their self-doubt. Instead, they use it as fuel to keep going. Another major source of self-doubt is comparison. In today's world, it is easier than ever to compare yourself to others. Social media is filled with people who seem to have it all: perfect careers, perfect relationships, perfect lives. And when you measure yourself against these carefully curated images, it is easy to feel like you do not measure up. You start to believe that you are not as talented, not as attractive, not as successful. But what you see on the surface is not the full picture. Every person you admire has their own struggles, their own doubts, their own insecurities. The only difference is that they do not let those doubts stop them. The only person you should ever compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Your journey is unique, your path is different, and your worth is not determined by how you measure up to others. Negative self-talk is another major contributor to self-doubt. The words you speak to yourself shape your reality. If you constantly tell yourself, "I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I'm going to fail," then your mind will believe it, and your actions will reflect it. Your words have power. They can build you up or tear you down. If you want to overcome self-doubt, you must start by changing the way you speak to yourself. Replace negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Tell yourself, "I am capable, I am strong, I am worthy of success." The more you speak these truths over yourself, the more your mind will start to believe them. Perfectionism is another enemy that feeds self-doubt. Many people believe that if they cannot do something perfectly, they should not do it at all. They spend so much time trying to make everything perfect that they never take action. They are afraid to fail, afraid to make mistakes, afraid to be judged. But perfection is an illusion. No one gets everything right the first time. No one has all the answers. Growth comes from action, from trial and error, from learning along the way. If you wait for everything to be perfect, you will be waiting forever. Progress is better than perfection. Taking imperfect action is better than taking no action at all. One of the biggest lies of self-doubt is the belief that you are alone, that you are the only one who struggles with these thoughts. But the truth is, even the most successful, confident people have moments of doubt. The difference is that they do not let those doubts control them. They push through, they take action, they refuse to let fear hold them back. The greatest leaders, the most accomplished individuals have all faced moments of uncertainty. The key is to keep moving forward despite the doubt. Overcoming self-doubt requires intentional effort. The first step is awareness. You must recognize when self-doubt is speaking. Pay attention to the thoughts that enter your mind. Are they encouraging or discouraging? Are they lifting you up or tearing you down? Once you identify self-doubt, you can begin to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this thought based on truth or fear? More often than not, self-doubt is based on fear, not reality. The next step is to take action. Fear and doubt lose their power when you take action. The longer you hesitate, the stronger self-doubt becomes. But when you take even the smallest step forward, you begin to build confidence. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you develop through action. The more you push past your doubts, the stronger you become. Another powerful way to silence self-doubt is to surround yourself with the right people. If you are constantly around negative, critical, unsupportive people, their words will feed your doubts. But if you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who encourage you, who remind you of your potential, their words will drown out the voice of self-doubt. Choose to be around those who lift you up, not those who tear you down. Faith is another key weapon against self-doubt. When you put your trust in God, when you believe that He has a plan for your life, when you understand that He has given you everything you need to succeed, self-doubt begins to lose its grip. Faith is believing in what you cannot see. It is trusting that even when you do not feel capable, God is working through you. It is knowing that your strength does not come from you alone, but from a higher power. Self-doubt is a battle that must be fought daily. It does not go away overnight. But with consistent effort, with intentional action, with faith and perseverance, you can overcome it. You do not have to live in the shadow of self-doubt. You do not have to let it control your life. You have the power to silence it. You have the ability to step into confidence. You have everything you need to succeed. The world needs what you have to offer. Your gifts, your talents, your ideas, none of them are accidental. You were created with purpose. Do not let self-doubt rob you of your destiny. Step out in faith, take action, believe in yourself, and watch as doors begin to open, as opportunities begin to arise, as you step into the fullness of who you were meant to be. Persistence is the bridge between failure and success, the force that turns dreams into reality, and the quality that separates those who achieve greatness from those who fall short. The Bible tells us that those who endure will reap a harvest in due time if they do not give up. Yet so many people quit before they see the fruits of their labor. They let obstacles discourage them, setbacks dishearten them, and failures define them. They walk away from their goals not realizing how close they were to victory. The world is filled with stories of people who faced repeated failure but refused to give up. Thomas Edison, the man who brought light to the world, failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination and was fired from a newspaper job before creating an empire that changed entertainment forever. J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers before Harry Potter became one of the most beloved book series in history. The common thread in all of their stories is persistence. They kept going when others would have quit. They refused to listen to doubt, criticism, or fear. They believed in their vision, even when the world told them it was impossible. But persistence is not just about external success. It is about developing a mindset that does not waver in the face of adversity. It is about refusing to let challenges shake your confidence, failures break your spirit, or delays make you lose faith. It is about understanding that anything worth having requires effort, patience, and resilience. One of the biggest reasons people fail to persist is because they expect instant results. In a world of instant gratification where people can get fast food, quick responses, and same-day shipping, patience has become a rare virtue. Many people start something with enthusiasm but quit when they do not see immediate success. They go to the gym for a few weeks and stop because they do not see a drastic transformation. They start a business, face early struggles, and walk away because it is harder than they expected. They chase a dream but quit at the first sign of rejection. What they fail to realize is that success is a slow process, not an overnight miracle. Every great achievement takes time. A tree does not grow overnight. A house is not built in a day. A masterpiece is not painted in an hour. Anything of value requires persistence. The mistake most people make is quitting before the breakthrough comes. They get discouraged because they do not see progress, but progress is often happening beneath the surface. Just because you do not see immediate results does not mean your efforts are wasted. Every small step, every hour invested, every lesson learned is moving you closer to success. Another reason people fail to persist is fear of failure. No one likes to fail. It feels like rejection, embarrassment, and disappointment all rolled into one. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Every failure teaches a lesson. Every mistake provides an opportunity to improve. The people who succeed are not the ones who avoid failure, but the ones who learn from it. The key to persistence is shifting your mindset about failure. Instead of seeing it as a dead end, see it as a stepping stone. Instead of viewing it as a sign to stop, see it as proof that you are trying. Every successful person has failed more times than the average person has even tried. The difference is that they did not let failure break them. They used it to build resilience. They adjusted their strategies, refined their skills, and kept moving forward. One of the most overlooked aspects of persistence is consistency. Success is not about making one big effort, but about making small, consistent efforts over time. A person who exercises for 30 minutes every day will see better results than someone who works out for 5 hours once a month. A writer who writes a little every day will finish a book faster than someone who waits for inspiration to strike. A business owner who takes small, steady steps will achieve more than someone who tries to do everything at once and burns out. Consistency is what turns persistence into results. It is the daily grind, the commitment to keep showing up even when you do not feel like it. It is doing the work even when no one is watching. It is sticking to the process even when it feels like nothing is happening. The people who reach their goals are not always the most talented, the most intelligent, or the most privileged. They are the ones who refuse to quit. Another challenge to persistence is dealing with setbacks. Life is unpredictable. Even with the best plans, things can go wrong. You may lose a job, face an unexpected expense, experience rejection, or encounter obstacles you never anticipated. In these moments, many people give up, believing the universe is against them. But setbacks are not signals to stop. They are tests to see how badly you want something Every setback contains a lesson. Sometimes setbacks force you to take a different approach. Other times they make you stronger, teaching you patience, resilience, and problem-solving skills. The key is to keep moving forward. If one door closes, look for another. If one strategy fails, try a new one. If you fall, get back up. Your environment also plays a major role in your ability to persist. If you surround yourself with negative people who constantly tell you why something will not work, it becomes harder to stay committed. If you listen to voices that fill you with doubt, fear, and discouragement, persistence becomes a struggle. But if you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who push you forward, who remind you of your potential, staying persistent becomes easier. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline is what sustains persistence. There will be days when you do not feel like pushing forward, days when everything seems difficult, days when doubt creeps in. That is when discipline matters most. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. It is what makes you wake up early, stay up late, put in the work, and push through discomfort. Faith is also a powerful driver of persistence. When you believe that God has a plan for your life, that you are being guided, that your struggles have a purpose, persistence becomes easier. Faith reminds you that you are not alone in your journey. It gives you strength when you feel weak, hope when you feel discouraged, and courage when fear tries to stop you. One of the biggest keys to persistence is having a strong reason why. If your goal is only about money, fame, or recognition, you may struggle to persist when things get tough. But if your goal is connected to a deeper purpose, you will find the strength to keep going. If you want to build a business to provide a better life for your family, that reason will keep you pushing forward. If you want to get in shape to be healthier for your loved ones, that reason will fuel your persistence. If you want to make a difference in the world, that reason will give you the endurance to keep going. Ultimately, persistence is about refusing to settle. It is about not accepting a life of mediocrity when you were created for greatness. It is about pushing past your comfort zone, stretching your limits, and proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. The road to success is not easy, but it is worth it. The struggles will test you, but they will also shape you. The challenges will refine you, making you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Most people quit when things get hard, but you are not most people. You were born to do great things. You have a purpose, a calling, and a destiny. Keep going, keep fighting, keep believing, because the moment you feel like quitting could be the moment right before your breakthrough. And when you persist, when you refuse to give up, when you push through the doubt, the obstacles, and the failures, you will look back one day and realize that every struggle was worth it. Every setback was a setup for your comeback. Every challenge was preparing you for something greater. Keep going, because your victory is closer than you think.